So we're finding out that the person that authorities believe shot Charlie Kirk was turned in or encouraged to turn himself in by his own family, specifically his father, which I find to be incredibly fascinating, especially since it comes on the heels of the governor saying, when we catch this individual, we will be doing everything we can to seek out the death penalty. Wow. So, did the father just condemn his son to die? I'm not saying that his son shouldn't face the death penalty. I'm just thinking, as a father, what an incredible choice you have to make between encouraging your son to quote-unquote do the right thing, even though you know it could cost him his life.
Yeah, think about that for a minute. If you are a dad and you strongly suspect that it's your kid who did this, what would be the alternative, Chris, that you potentially think that a jury would let him off by reason of insanity or something like that?
No, I don't think that crosses his mind. I think that the family was in a moral quandary. I think they were in a moral dilemma, and I don't know how long they debated it. I know that it wasn't that long because the photograph only came out yesterday, right? And then they ended up picking the guy up, late last night?
Yeah, but I mean, you have to be, you're right, though, because if you are that dad and you turn your son in because you believe he is the one who did this, you are sentencing him to death.
And yet, if you don't, you are consciously allowing a killer to roam free.
That's
and you
right.
know that, too.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
I can't even imagine the and maybe this is why they reached out to the was it a faith leader you said? I'm sorry.
It was a
youth pastor.
Yes.
Youth pastor. Yep. Yeah. So, and again, they had to reach out to somebody who had clear eyes. So why might a family member think twice before trying to encourage someone to do the right thing? We have spoken before about if we had a family member that we knew that they did something. If it were one of my kids, what would I do? And I say that I would contact an attorney right away. Mm-hmm. I would get legal advice, and I would say, you're going to turn yourself in, but we're going to have you do it with an attorney. Look, anytime you see a bigwig get busted for something, they don't walk into the police station and say, it was me. They contact their attorney. Their attorney sets up a time for them to be, booked and processed and interviewed with the attorney by their side. That's how I would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Although Joe and I were talking about this in rehearsal today, and you thought that could have had its own shortcoming.
Well, I try to put my shoes in this father's role here, and I think to myself, if my kid assassinated someone,
yeah,
I would be nervous of two things. First and foremost, as a father, I'm nervous that my kid is going to turn the gun on themselves if I call them and tell them I suspect them, and I truly believe they've done it. And I don't want my kid to kill themselves. And then two,
by the way, we're getting reports that he considered that.
That the accused killer did?
Yeah, well, the New York Post is reporting that he threatened to kill himself rather than surrender after his dad confronted him.
I believe it. And then two, I would be tremendously worried if I'm dad. Okay, if I believe that my son has done this, who else are they going to potentially go after? Might they target the family? Might they target a friend? Might they target a random group of people? Could there be more bloodshed as a result of me calling someone?
Okay, so like escalation.
Yeah.
If I tell my son you need to do the right thing, then is he going to get in his car and go on a spree here and die in a hail of bullets?
Yeah. What would stop him? If they assassinated someone at a rally from a couple hundred yards away, why would they not?
What's a state trooper here and there, right?
Or what's a random crowd of people?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, what's to stop them from getting in their car and mowing down a bunch of people?
I think these are incredibly good points. Sort of a secondary point that crossed my mind as we consider why a family member might think twice before trying to encourage someone to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. And to be clear, I believe that the father who encouraged his son to turn himself in did the right thing.
Yep.
All right. I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I'm saying here. I'm just considering what may have gone through his mind. I wonder if he had any fear of what might happen to him. I mean, you'd have to imagine that in our society today. I mean, you saw the guy in Canada that got like mercilessly harassed when the internet decided he was the shooter. He looked a little bit like Larry David.
Mm-hmm.
And they went, "Oh, it's this guy in Toronto." And people went after this guy.
I saw some pictures of it. I didn't see the video, but it looked like he got beaten.
No, the guy in Canada didn't get beaten. He was just wrongly accused.
It looked like there was one video that I saw where it looked like somebody was getting beaten up.
That was the dude who was first arrested, and then they said, we have a person. Remember, they picked up two persons of interest, and they cleared both of them. Excuse me. The first one is this dude that looked a little bit like Larry David and had a resemblance to the Canadian fella.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't get, I don't know if you want to say roughed up. The police did pick him up kind of in a chicken wing situation. But I'm thinking, if you're the father of the actual shooter, and you see what happens to a random stranger, what's going to happen to my family? Because now the father's got to be thinking, not only do I need to make sure that my son doesn't hurt himself or hurt other people and needs to turn himself in, I also have a duty and a responsibility to protect the rest of my family. And you know that they are going to catch all kinds of a hellstorm on the internets and probably in the neighborhoods, right?
No doubt. And I was talking with somebody in our digital team today, and they brought up a good point as well. So I don't want to mix up their words here, but they essentially said, Chris, imagine this is you, and imagine your kid is accused of doing something awful, and you call about them. They said, I would be so worried that my mom would take her own life if my dad called and turned me in.
Really?
So imagine if one of your kids is accused of doing something, how much do you then have to worry about your wife being incredibly emotional and either A, condemning you if you turn your child in.
Yeah, how could you do this? You've killed our son.
Or
right?
B, taking her own life or doing something tragic. If you try to do, again, the right thing here, as we believe this father did in turning his kid in.
I wonder, like, how many people would have the fortitude to do it, to do the right thing, to call the authorities or to call the youth minister or to call an attorney or whatever it is? Because, and again, we brought up that they made very clear they're going to seek the death penalty. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was before they even knew who the guy was. They said, we're going to find him and we're going to get the death penalty.
Yeah.
So that means that the family knows that they are effectively condemning their son to death, and that is a lot of weight to carry, which probably brings back those different emotional considerations that you're talking about with how does mom react? Mm-hmm. How does brother, sister react?
How does grandma react? Yeah.
Yeah. I just I can't even imagine the weight. I'm glad that they did the right thing and that he's been captured. I just can't even imagine what that family was going through.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.